The Karnataka Assembly session is all set to begin on December 13th or 14th. And in this session, the government is expected to introduce the controversial anti-conversion bill. Even as the government plans to introduce the anti-conversion bill, there have been many attacks on Christian church halls, on Christian prayer groups, and churches across the state. One person who's been vocal against these attacks and has cautioned against such an anti-conversion bill is the Archbishop of Bengaluru, Father Peter Machado. He joins us today. Father, you have written to the government. Recently, you also said that the anti conversion bill itself should not be introduced because, in its form, it's not acceptable. What are your main contentions against the anti conversion bill?
First of all, ma'am, thank you for this opportunity you are giving me. I have requested and I have been requesting the Karnataka government. This bill is not good, first of all, in the interest of the state itself. Secondly, in the interest of the Christians. And thirdly, it's a deterrent also for the rest of the minorities also, that they are not fully citizens, they are limited citizens, or they are little less citizens, etc. This message also will be conveyed to the others. The Christian minority is one of the minorities. There are others, many other minorities there. First of all, I said it won't be in the interest of Karnataka, because Karnataka is something special, something beautiful. You know, I am from Karnataka, I am born and brought up here, I am a Kannadiga, and I am proud of it. And I say that Karnataka has made a lot of strides of development and progress, which the other states have not made, because sometimes they go on saying that the other states have done it, so let us do it. That's not an argument.
But so the government can turn around and say that we are not restricting Christians, we are only restricting forceful conversions.
Yes, for that, I would say wherever there is an aberration, wherever there is perhaps a certain breaking of the laws, you have also the laws and regulations of the country which you can enforce forcefully. As far as I know, that there are about 10 to 15 sections of the Indian police code that can be applied, and surely it should do. It should help. And we don't say that allow the excesses, allow everyone to do everything. Surely the rules and regulations are to be followed. And if there is a forceful conversion, if there is a fraudulent conversion, if there is incentivized conversion, take action according to the law. That's what my contention is. But just because there are one or two excesses, something like that, so debar all the people from certain practices and devotions, and that is not correct. I say that if there is an accident, this accident is taking place in some roads, do you say that people should not be using vehicles at all? You have to face those situations, and surely there are ways of handling these situations.
So you're saying in the guise of stopping a few forceful conversions or incentivized conversions, the government is trying to stop all conversions.
Yeah, and which is not correct. First of all, I would even contest in what way the government considers them forceful or fraudulent, etc. Because these are all standards which are applied to some, each one has got its own standards. Because for me, Article 25 of the Constitution says anyone can preach his religion, anyone can profess his religion, practice his religion, and also propagate. What's the meaning of propagate? In order to make propagate, surely I come to the public forum and I make an explanation. If you wish, you can take it, otherwise just leave it. Like we do the advertisements in this one. We are not forcing people to buy this particular product, but I am not stopped in publicizing it. That is one thing. So secondly, has the Constitution debarred conversions? No. The Constitution says that you can even change your religion, but certain safeguards are there, certain procedures are to be followed, which we are surely asking you to enforce. We have no difficulty about that. But we don't need another law which will criminalize our propagation, our preaching of gospel, and criminalize also conversion. Tomorrow, conversion will be considered as a crime. And as it is now, this particular law, as it is passed in the other states, for example, Uttar Pradesh and the other states, has got stringent laws. If a Hindu wants to become a Christian, first of all, he has to give an application to the magistrate. The magistrate takes 2 months to examine it. The magistrate asks the police to go and make inquiry of it. And the police have to visit, give a report, and once again the magistrate calls him back, and this process is supposed to take more than about 6 months. And you think any person who wants to become a Christian can go through this all these rigors of these laws and penalties that you are going to see?
So you're saying the whole purpose of introducing the anti-conversion bill is to make the process cumbersome and also a criminal offense.
Yes, that's what I say. And also to, I would say, to discriminate Christians alone. They say that this law is going to be applied for everybody. Someone could make a survey of the 7 states that have passed it. How many other people other than the Christians have been victims of this law? There's nobody. It's only the Christians. And it is particularly for Christians, because the other way about it, I would say, suppose a Hindu wants to become a Christian, you have all these procedures. Let us, for my argument's sake, if a Christian wants to become a Hindu, will you apply this? Will you ask him to go through all these rigors? Will you find out from him that why do you want to change your religion of Christian?
How are you viewing the attacks? We have seen many in Belagavi and other districts also, that prayer halls have been attacked, sometimes churches have been attacked. But the right wing groups which have been behind the attacks have always taken one person from this prayer hall saying that this person was brought, perhaps a Dalit man or a woman, for forceful conversion. That's the reason what they've given the police. How do you view these attacks?
First of all, these attacks bring a bad name to the state, Karnataka state. I was at a program yesterday. It's called the Protection of Civil Rights Association for Protection of Civil Rights, and they have documented that there have been 33 attacks in Karnataka from month of January till to date. And Karnataka seems to be the 3rd state in attacks, the ranking 3rd in the number of attacks. The first is the Uttar Pradesh, I think, then is Uttarakhand or some other north state, and the 3rd one is Karnataka. I would say this is a very bad and dubious distinction for us. It should be surely hurting for us, but tolerable. But how would you like to see that the government is silent, the police is silent? There are certain groups that are just barging into some of our prayer halls. They want to take it over and sing their bhajans and sing their songs and do their things, throwing out the people that are inside. And some places stone throwing and the others. And as you said, some people are also planted here and there just to record it, just to say it. Surely when we say our prayers, we have certain words and certain language, certain jargon that we speak. When we give perhaps when we give what we call our sermons, our prabodhana, we also perhaps we will try to motivate the people to live this life, to follow Christ, etc. But to record these things and make it an issue, it's as good as someone is behind us with a hidden agenda. The silent approval of certain government agencies, this gives a bad impression. Even if the bill was, I do not know what is, it's not necessary at all. If the bill was contemplated, it was discussed in a bigger forum, it was asked opinions of everybody, and that would have been the right thing to do. Listening to one man who is supposed to have cried in the assembly, the MLA of that particular place, I think it's Hosadurga, Mr. Gulati by name.
He said his mother was converted and
reconverted and all that. And you take that man so seriously and want to pass a bill for the whole state. And he makes an accusation that there are 20,000 people who have been converted. And the government, it seems, ordered an inquiry. The Tashildar made an inquiry of it, and in the end the Tashildar has given a report. It was, I read in the papers, which must be true also, that there were only 45 families in that whole area that were converted, but freely.
But does the church keep any record of how many people were converted in Karnataka?
We have, in a sense, each of our churches have got certain records of certain people who come and be a part of us. But I would say there are majority of people who just come, listen, they are impressed.
But there is a number, there is no number to give.
In a sense, the population number that the government gives that's what we follow. It's called 2.1%. And if I am told that the conversions are increasing, at least increase the population number also. That doesn't increase. There is equal number of people joining. There are equal number of people leaving and joining other religions also. We have many Christians who have become Hindus.
What do you think of the police action? In Belagavi, for example, the police have told the Christian prayer halls not to conduct these prayers at least till the assembly session is over. So, how do you view the police reaction to the attacks?
Surely it is not very mature decision on the part of the police to forbid us to say our prayers. I think the background was that these groups who are meeting in the halls of certain areas, and these vigilante groups are attacking those places, thinking to say that they are making use of these halls, etc., for prayer, and they want to stop it. And the police said the best way to protect yourself is not to have it, so that these groups don't come back again and again to you to disturb. This is not a mature decision. The police should say that they have a right to pray. They have, let us say, taken it for rent or taken it for some purpose, taken it for this one. And for example, the Sunday prayers of ours, it is a normal formal prayer which we feel bad if we cannot do it. And so the police should have provided this dialogue with these people and say, when are you going to have your prayers? Please inform us. We will send some police at least to mark who are your people who are going to attack you. At least may recognize them and take some notice of them, and secondly, give you some protection.
But that's not happened. There is no protection given.
I told the government the police have sent us a sort of a small directive to the Christians there, that during the time of the assembly we will be very busy with the ministers and the other security arrangements, and therefore we would not be able to pay attention to you. Best thing is you don't pray at all for 15 days. It's like to say that the rains are very heavy in Bangalore, so kindly send a notice to all the people, don't come to Bangalore on those rainy days. This is a type of solutions that you are giving.
So, in your speech 2 days ago, two things struck me. One is that what is the profile of the people who try to convert to Christianity, let's say from Hinduism? Are these people disillusioned by the caste system or oppressed? That's my first question. And second, you said that does the government really have proof to show that this many people converted, because we run so many schools, even central union government ministers have studied in the schools, and there has been no conversion of these people. So, can you explain these 2 points? What are the kind of people who mainly come for conversion?
I would say there are different types of people who come to be converted. I don't say strictly conversion, but they are happy with us. First of all, there are people of intellectual level who perhaps read and find certain truths of the Bible which are very meaningful to them and surely would like. The others, especially the youth, like the music or the songs, the lyrics, etc., they come. There's a third category, perhaps, who may not be so much educated and all, but they find our silence, our prayerful devotions, that's something it touches them. And surely sometimes maybe some preaching, etc., impresses people. And there are different categories of people who get attracted to us and come back to our religion. And as you said of the lower caste or this one, perhaps there are a section of people who are fed up of certain systems in the Hindu culture or in the society of this high caste, low caste. And being not only that they don't get any benefits, or rather they are not any promotions, etc., but that they don't have dignity, that they are considered the low. Whereas Christianity by religion should not be this what's called, we value dignity very much. But unfortunately the caste sticks, and I must admit that even in Christian groups there is a little of caste system in some groups. But by and large our religion is a caste-less society, is a caste-less religion as such. I don't know whether you noticed when that...
By and large can be contestable in the sense that it's largely casteless. There are people who do follow the caste system within Christianity.
As I said, Bangalore has got about 1,000 schools. There must be more than about 5-6 lakh students that are studying in different of our institutions. And fortunately, we are proud of our institutions because people want to be admitted. And some people consider it to be fortunate to get admission into one of our schools. But if this allegation that you make of us, that we are converting people, don't you think the easiest solution for us in order to get more Christians would be to convert or try to convert these children who are with us at that impressionable age, how much we could tell them to become part of us? but we will never do that. So also our hospitals. People are dying, but let them die in their dignified religion.
So, for those watching, the Hosadurga MLA is someone who had broken down. He cried in the assembly saying that his mother was converted to Christianity. A lot of Kannada news channels had covered it very vigorously. And then a few weeks or months later, he came back and said that his mother has reconverted to Hinduism. In fact, his outburst in the assembly became one of the catalysts for the Karnataka government to be introducing the anti conversion bill. My other question to you is contentious. What is your opinion about Dalits from Hinduism coming to Christianity? Should reservation or affirmative action be applicable to them?
The caste is also something I can't change. If I was born in a certain caste, that stigma of that caste, or perhaps that blessings of that caste that I was born, it remains with me. And even if I have changed my religion, the caste is always there, because the others will still look at me in that binoculars or that perhaps eye glasses that they would like to see me. And so I think you are once again making a distinction. I said this law and Christian discrimination will continue in a difficult way to say that the Dalits who have become Christians, we are denying you these benefits, as good as saying we are punishing you for becoming a Christian. We will take action against you. We will strip you of all your benefits that you are getting. It's as good as you are frightening him not to go over to another religion which he freely would like to accept, and put conditions to him.
And also, from your previous answer, it becomes important because there is casteism within the Christian groups also.
Yeah, I mean, not a big issue of it. There are some small groups who have that, who have and perhaps have still have that feeling of caste, because I think caste is something that you can't wipe off. It doesn't go off. Like the color of your skin, it remains.
But we should aspire to.
Surely, the religious tenets of ours, we say that, and as much as we cross over these boundaries, that much we are closer to God.
But Father, as someone who covers South India, I really have to call out the church's hypocrisy, because you started saying that the whole purpose of the anti-conversion bill is to ensure that some communities feel as second-class citizens compared to others. But doesn't the church adopt different policies in different states? For example, in Kerala, many bishops have come forward criticizing the Muslim community. Officially and unofficially, the church has aligned with even right wing groups, calling it narcotic jihad, love jihad, even against halal food. So, isn't that hypocritical of the church that here you're saying that you are the minority that is attacked, but in Kerala, it's a different position that you take?
If there is an open enmity between these two religions and religious groups, it's not a good thing. They should dialogue. Perhaps there are certain issues that irritate certain communities about certain issues. Surely they should bring it to the fore, call the leaders and dialogue in such a way. But to have this animosity between the two groups, two religious, I don't think it is a good.
But have you been following these comments, narcotic jihad and...
Yeah, I've heard it. I mean, some quarters I've heard this what's called love jihad, narcotic jihad, and some people trying. You know, there are good people in every religion. There are also a section of bad people in every religion, every religious group. This is human nature. And we say human and divine sometimes try and don't meet together, however much we may try. And so there are certain people in certain religious groups who are fundamentalist, or perhaps who are of a certain ideology that will cause a little harm to the others. Their intentions are selfish. Their intentions are perhaps so much limited and...
But there is no proof of any of these things. For example, narcotics jihad, there is no proof that any extremist group is even doing this.
I would say perhaps I'm not a good judge because I don't know the situation of Kerala. Okay. If someone who knows the situation there analyzes, comes out with concrete examples to say that there are certain instances where people fall in love, or other people make people fall in love in order to get married, that's called the love jihad. And also whether perhaps, this drugs business is also here in the city of Bengaluru. Many of our students, we are told that they have also been taking drugs, etc. And when you become a drug addict, it's an addiction. It's an addiction. Perhaps if there is someone with an evil mind to to spoil the youth and the innocence of the youth by certain of our drugs and all. I don't know how to call it. It's not a good thing. But if these facts are there, if these instances are there, it's better for the heads of the communities to come together, to dialogue. And the Christians are minority, the Muslims are also a minority. We can't be fighting among ourselves in order to tell the others to say that ultimately minorities are to be blamed for problems in the country. We have to be mature enough to solve our problems.
Father, from your answer on the question I asked about the narcotic jihad, love jihad, I can sense an underlying mistrust against certain groups that you say. But is that not the same thing happening when it comes to the right-wing groups having a distrust on Christian groups? Now you are following the same policy when it comes to Muslim groups. So is there an underlying sense of mistrust?
I would put it this way. This particular mistrust is common among anyone who is not your own. The mistrust is extended to someone outside my family, outside my group, and outside my this one. The height of human relationship would be that we trust everybody in the same sense. And this is possible only when we clarify, when we are open, when we are this one. As regards the Muslims, about certain groups that you said that perhaps you don't trust, I don't say that I don't trust, but perhaps I may not be knowing all the details of what they would like to present ourselves.
So you have written to the Chief Minister. Are you hoping for any kind of positive response before the assembly session starts about the anti-conversion bill?
Ma'am, I said in my program that day, I trust in God. I trust in also in humanity, in good sense. I can understand, I have said it often also, the Chief Minister is an honorable man. He is a decent and educated man. You know, before I came to Bangalore, I was in Belgaum, and that means the whole diocese included Dharwad and Hubli, and I have also been with him in many of the programs. Public, at that time he was an MLA and a small MLA of a small district, Haveri district, etc. And I have known him personally to be a good man. But the compulsions are office as such that you have to please many people. And we say those who are sitting in the chair, you can't please everybody. If you try to please everybody, you don't please anybody. So therefore, you have to have your mind and sight fixed, as it was. What is your priorities? What are your principles? And you have taken an oath on the Constitution to be a father to whole state, that everyone is your subject. There is no such thing as these are more subjects, they are less subjects, they are no subjects, nothing of that sort. You are bound to the Constitution to protect the right, the freedom of every citizen in this state, and also to be positive enough to gather from them also the goodness of their own religions, groups, etc., and to combine together.
So is Karnataka Chief Minister Bommai under some compulsion? Is he being misled? Will the Karnataka government introduce the anti-conversion bill in the assembly? We will keep track of all these news developments in the News Minute. But don't forget, independent journalism needs your support. Become a member of the News Minute. The link is in the description below. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for having this conversation with us, Father.